Hi, thank you for joining me today. In this video, we're going to focus on what are known as collective nouns. Nouns, as a reminder, are people, places, or things. However, a collective noun refers to people or things as a group, right? So it's a word rather that implies a plurality of people or things, and we'll talk more about some of the specifics because there are nuances to it. And you'll notice also on my screen that I've included a couple funny looking numbers and letters, and what these are let me go ahead and just switch to a highlighter. What these are standards. In particular, or excuse me, more specifically for me, these are California state standards. I was asked to include those for other professionals who are using my videos in their own classroom to help identify which standards, again, we are working on in this particular lesson, and so I've done so here. And parents, you're welcome to go ahead and reference those as well, just to get a little bit more of the minutiae involved in what should be taught and what should be learned using said standards. All right, we got that out of the way. Let's go ahead and move on. I'm going to go ahead and try to make room for expanding the screen, so hopefully you can see. So what are collective nouns? Collective comes from the root word, which is collection. And when you have a collection of something, you will have a plurality of it, which means you have more than one of that type of thing, right? So an example of a collection would be a card collection, where if you collect cards, you're going to collect more than one, and in doing so, you generate a collection. All right, so a collective noun will name a group, which again is a plurality, which is like a collection of people or things. All right. Let's go ahead and move on. Oh, I'm sorry. In the examples that I have here, of course, I love my cats. So I've got a group of kitties, a small herd of kitties, or a litter of cats, I suppose, would be an example. But all right, let's move on. Okay, the funny thing about collective nouns is it's sometimes difficult to identify whether or not a collective noun is being used as a plural or as a singular element. And there is some nuance to it. Sorry, you're going to have to forgive the background noise. We've got neighbors walking in front of the park. Anywho, so they can be both. Again, it just depends on the way you're using them. As a reminder, a plural is more than one thing, and a singular means only one. All right. So, collective noun, plural or singular? Well, they can be singular when we consider the word to mean a single group or entity, which is another way of saying a thing. The examples I give is our team, which is a collective noun of people as a group working towards a goal, like a baseball team, right? It's a group of people who play baseball together, or a team of engineers, so a group of people who are engineers. But the way I'm using it in the sentence implies a singular element. So take a look at let me see if I can go ahead and, let's see if I can go ahead and switch my color, which I can. Oops, sorry guys, I'm still learning this tool. Okay, so you'll notice that I bolded the verb is, and is a to be verb. And because I'm saying is, so our team is the best, I'm using it as a singular. Same thing here, the family, which in this case is going to be a group of related people or individuals. Again, it's a collective noun, but I'm using is to describe their action, right? So they are, in this case, sitting. So the family is sitting. I'm referring to them as a singular group, just in the same way as I refer to the team as a singular group. All right, now, collective nouns can be plural when you change that to be verb, which was is, to are, A-R-E. Okay, so we take it to mean a number of individuals, by which I mean a large proportion of individuals beyond the number one. Examples are the crew, and here's an example of a crew, right? Like a crew of a ship, in this case a crew of an airline. Well, they are wearing new uniforms. So you'll notice, let me see if I can switch again. Rather than saying is wearing new uniforms, which you could absolutely do, right? I'm switching it to are because I'm referring to them as a plurality. All right, same thing here where I've got, the herd of sheep are eating. Well, okay. Again, I could say the herd of sheep is eating, referring to them as individuals. Instead, I'm choosing to use the are verb, and I'm making sure to identify this particular collective noun as a plural, or use it as a plural. So the herd, which is my collective noun, the crew, which is my collective noun, using the verb are implies a plurality, which means more than one. So when I'm referring to that collective noun, I'm referring to it as a plural. All right, now there's a lot of different examples for pluralities, whether it's for people or animals or other like objects, inanimate objects or things. And you're welcome to search for it. This is not an exhaustive list, which means this is not a list where I've identified every possible collective noun. There's a whole lot more. These are just a couple of examples. So for people, you know, we have a collective noun where you could say it's a band of men or women. An army of soldiers, so that's a grouping of soldiers in this case. A choir of singers. A team of players. A cast of actors. And so again, these are words which are referring to groups of a particular person or type of person or a category of person. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. Now for animals, you could say a colony of gulls, and like seagulls, a brood of hens, a flock of turkeys or a flock of birds, a litter of dogs or a litter of cats, a sloth of bears. This is one I had to Google or search for. The collective noun for bears is in fact sloth, which was kind of interesting. Oh, and the collective nouns for crows, even though a crow is a kind of bird, a collective noun for crow is murder, so a murder of crows. So you're welcome to go ahead and search the collective nouns for an animal or an object you're thinking of, and I'm sure you may end up being surprised by what you find, like I was. Alrighty, and then of course we've got things which are entities or inanimate objects. So a batch of cakes or cookies, a bottle of milk, and you think, well, bottle is singular. Yes, you can have a singular bottle. However, within that bottle is what's known as an uncountable noun, like a bottle of water. Well, how much water? Well, it's indeterminate unless you assign it a value, like 8 ounces or a gallon or so. But water itself is uncountable, an uncountable noun, so I can't sit there and give you a specific number or quantity in this case. I would just say a bottle of, and in this case, milk, a box of cereal, a can of tomatoes, a cup of coffee. These are all collective nouns. So it's a grouping of uncountable nouns in some cases or things. Oops. Okay, so hopefully this was helpful. Oops. Hopefully this was helpful. Again, just as a reminder, a collective noun is, its root word is collection, so a grouping of things. And a collective noun is a specific noun that applies to a specific category or group of people, animals, or things. I invite you to search to see the different varieties of collective nouns for things that you may, want to identify as a group, right? All right, that is our lesson. I'll be sure to include a link to the slides in the description of this video below if you want to reference it. Other than that, please continue to check for updates on my YouTube channel regarding additional content related to English, writing, and now math, since we've started distance learning. All right, thank you so much.